I still, unfortunately, do not have the ability to put it on screen. Um, but and I actually lost my queue. Mary Liz, do you still have a queue as well? Or... Oh, there goes our tracker going all over the place. Maybe it's good news. Maybe that means that tracker is able to see sunlight. We will see. Okay, unfortunately, I will go through our. Let's do this anyway. I will be going through and doing it on here to be able to answer guys' questions. And normally, and guys, again, sorry that we're having a little bit of an issue with our comment system. But normally, we actually most of the comments that we're reading so far weren't super chats or anything. So if you just have a good question in chat, we'll try to be able to throw it to a queue. Unfortunately, right now our queue is a little bit old. It seems to happen when it's the most important. That's always what it seems like. But let me answer a few of your guys' questions here from the super chat queue. And again, sorry we can't get these up online on screen. I appreciate you guys hanging out. And this is from Daniel. Daniel flew with $50. Thank you so much. Some beer money towards this Arvo's Light Day celebration. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And from Greg Swanson, Duncan money. Didn't troll last night. Loved the mountain versus equator loft. Was wondering the math of the mountain. Yes.
that they're hoping to achieve. Can you talk a little bit about what we can expect out of this mission and how long it's going to last?
Yeah, so essentially what we are hoping to see is the yeah, so essentially what we are hoping to see is the yeah, so essentially what we are hoping to see is the so essentially what we are
still valuable. Go back to the thermal one more time real quick. Because of how bright white the stream coming out of the OLM at the bottom of the rocket there is, I think we have to see, I mean, that's cold. That's really cold stuff right there. Certainly colder than 19C. I think our readout is wrong, but I think the pixels on the screen aren't lying to us, though. So that's good. And as a matter of fact, you can kind of see some white spots. Well, it's hard to tell. Yeah. Anyway, in theory, we should be into ship LOX load, and I believe we're also into ship load, methane fuel load as well. So we should be seeing things developing on the booster. Or, I mean, on the ship, and then the booster's not until. Can we throw up the thing one more time? The times of the things that we're expecting. So yeah, ship fuel should be going on. Booster won't be coming up until T-minus 42 and 41 minutes. And that'll be a little bit more obvious, but at this point, I'm not really... Oh, that camera just looks so good at night. So good at night. It's so funny, though, how these things switch around. Like, during the day, this camera still looks great. It's still a good camera, but... Oh, all of a sudden, all the ones that looked like absolute crap at night look fantastic during the day. And we don't have... from SpaceX yet, right? I'm double checking Twitter, or I'm double checking X. That just sounds like nothing. So, let's see here. Ooh, thank you, Sam, in our Discord, saying that thermal cameras are prone to reflections, so the silver Starship will make it inaccurate until there's a frost line. That is a good point. That is a very good point. But you'd still think, I don't know. I'm still in the camp that that really cold gaseous oxygen vents at the bottom of the OLM would be so cold that they're certainly below 18C. Let's see. So sorry. Back to the Hughes SciTech. Sorry that assets sound corporate cringe to you, but I mean, I don't know what do you? How else do you describe a bunch of hardware? Do you want us to say a bunch of hardware? I mean, it's all. I personally don't get why people always like want to label everything cringe, but I don't know. We just call them assets because they're assets. It's exactly what they are. From Andy Builds, how much flights until humans fly in Starship? By the way, corn is better in Nebraska. Wait. No, your corn is not better in Nebraska. Iowa is the #1 exporter of corn. Just keep that in mind. So, yeah, how many flights until humans? I mean, I would guess it'd be in the dozens, like 2 or 3 dozen Starship flights before humans fly on it. We're at flight 3. I think by flight 10, this vehicle will already be looking a lot prettier. We'll be doing a lot more important things, and will be a lot more operational. And then they'll just have to prove it out with a rapid cadence and learning the lessons as quickly as possible. I am not seeing... I'm not seeing anything. Mary Liz, are we seeing any reports from anyone? Like, you'd think we'd start seeing... Man, I was expecting we'd start seeing a frost line growing already. does not seem to be the case yet. Well, let's keep going. This is from Aeroplane Specialist. Hey, I am 11 years old. I'm from Pennsylvania and took 3. That is awesome. I'm not sure what took 3 is, but awesome. Thank you so much for saying hi. I hope that you're enjoying today's launch attempt. I mean, we are, as you can tell by our countdown clock, coming up on T-minus 45 minutes, hopefully, to the next launch of Starship. And until we hear anything different, they're moving in. They're moving on. Oh, although look at how much. Is the booster getting frosty? Can we go back to thermal cam quick? Is thermal cam? Oh, that could be the frost could be just strictly from the COPVs there in the tanks, in the strakes there. That looks to be exactly what that is. So the vehicle started to be is pressurizing. However, I don't feel like I'm seeing any frost line on the ship yet. Huh. Dang. Bradley in our Discord saying, telling Tim your corn is better than his when he is sleep deprived is a dangerous play. That is, truer words have never been spoken. From Nemesis hates stars. Water Tower Gang all the way. It is crazy to see how far Starship and you have come. Overheating issues. Yeah, man, those Starhopper days were crazy. And you see Starhopper in the foreground here, still out there at Starbase. Absolutely crazy. I don't know how many of you were around for 5 years ago, 2019, when Starhopper first flew. Actually, it was about exactly 5 years ago from now is when I first came out here for the first time and saw almost exactly nothing. I saw it do a spin prime test or something, but it was the first time I saw a Raptor do anything. Got it. Raptor engine in person, and I was absolutely screwed at that moment. Let's see, what are people saying here? I'm not seeing. I don't know. Is there a way to do a side-by-side with the thermal and night, where they're both kind of in vertical arrays, vertical boxes? That'd be cool. I think that'd be a good compromise, because the thermal camera, unfortunately, is not the highest resolution. I think actually, I don't know if this is right or not, but it's like a legally, like, civilians are not really allowed to have high resolution thermal cameras, which is like a military thing? So, yeah. All right. This is awesome from... Oh. Okay, so apparently that's not true. We just can't afford them. That's the truth. Okay, thermal cameras are insanely inexpensive. Insanely expensive. Jeez, if I could learn how to talk this morning, it'd be great. Doc Holiday, thank you so much for the super chat. Yearning to see starships. Wait, I am year ice. Wait. Oh my, I can't even read this. Oh, from earlier. It took 3 a.m. Wow, here. I want to see Starship. That's awesome. From Aeroplane Specialist. Let's see here. This is from Miranda saying, I don't think Elon agrees on 70% weather. It should be 69% go. That is the most Elon thing we could do. Yeah, I think we'll stick with the the official number of 70, but that is funny. Let's see here. More thermal footage. Yeah, I think we'll just keep the thermal. This is great. This is a good compromise here between low resolution thermal camera and 4K. That's great. But I'm not seeing any frost on the booster yet. Or I mean on the ship, which should have been happening a bit ago. Huh. Yeah, I feel like my gut feeling is my gut feeling is we're not hitting that 7:30 target because we're not seeing any propellant on the ship yet. We should have been seeing that at T minus 53 minutes. We should be seeing the booster begin fuel up. Yeah, gut feeling here is we're not into propellant. We would be seeing it. So that means that we're not hitting that 7:30 target yet. So these times they can't really fudge them. They can't really, if it's like T minus 40 minutes, it's not like they're like, all right, we'll just squeeze it in and we'll still launch at 7:30. If we're not seeing them do these milestones that you see on screen, then in the times that we see them, then it means they're not targeting that for a T0. Oh. This is good for us though, because it's moving more and more into daylight. We're within 1 hour of sunrise. That's actually fantastic. Our cameras are only going to get better and better from here. As the sun starts to come out, hopefully we actually see it burn off some of those clouds and some of that, some of the fog. It'd be awesome if our trackers actually start being able to focus in on the ship and get focus lock. Yeah, we're definitely. I expect an update from SpaceX at some point here that they're not hitting 7:30. That's the SpaceX stream has been delayed 30 minutes. That lines up with what we're seeing here. It definitely feels like they're not hitting that 7:30. Should we push our T clock, knowing that they're not in there yet? But I don't know if I want to arbitrarily set it. We could match the SpaceX stream. which is only on X. SpaceX does not have an official YouTube stream. Again, for the 90,000 of you. And thank you, first off. Hi, I'm Tim. Thank you for watching with me. If you see an official SpaceX stream on YouTube, it's not. There's so many scams and scammy, dishonest streams out there that are claiming to be SpaceX, that are likely just playing actually like the last launch and making it seem like it's today and then trying to sell you some kind of Bitcoin thing. Please report them. Please do the community service and report them. Let's see here. Yeah, where is that? Okay.
SpaceX just reported 8:02 a.m. is the new liftoff time.
8:02 a.m. is, thank you, Capcom. 8:02 is the new liftoff time. So we will adjust our T0 clock to reflect that 8:02 liftoff time. Thank you guys so much for that update. New liftoff time. Yep. 49 seconds ago. Thank you so much, Capcom. This is exactly...
You're welcome.
Mary Liz, still in the voice of God, Mary Liz Shalinsky.
Whoa.
Capcom. Let's see here. So that lines up. So now you can see our clock reflecting T0 of 8:02 a.m. And that's yeah. So we have about 17 minutes until we start to see prop loading on the vehicle. So let's take the thermal down for now. We'll bring that back up and as we start to see stuff happening again. But for now, it's not the most exhilarating thing when there's nothing flowing on it. But later, that's going to be fantastic. Oh no, their boat. Don't tell me there's a wayward boat. Don't tell me there's a wayward boat. Oh man. Okay, let's see. I'll try to get... we're still trying to figure out... get comments on screen. We're still working on it. Don't know what happened. It worked last night. Don't you love that? This is from U.S. Retired. So grateful for your coverage from Indiana. I cannot travel to see it live. Thank you. Thank you. You're so welcome. Retired. U.S. Army retired for your super chat. I really appreciate that. Yeah, this is fantastic though that we at least still have a T0 time and didn't call it off for the day. Don't forget they do have a launch window until 8:50. So if they're 8:02, that means they could push it back a couple more times or, potentially target the end of the launch window. By the way, our camera on the right, you're starting to see a little bit of just a hint of daylight. Just a small hint of daylight. I like that. You can just get a sense that, it's going to start getting brighter. It's almost as if the sun comes up at in a known predictable manner. This is mind. News for today, the sun continues to rise. Okay, let's keep going here. Oh no, more corn debate. We're not doing a corn debate. Let's see. This is Adam asking, "Hi Tim, why is the second stage landing in water with belly flop technique instead of pointy end up, simulating a chopstick catch?" That is, I mean, that's honestly a great question. The only thing I can figure, and it hurts me to say this because you know that they, in theory, could probably load similar flight profiles to SN15. But I think the reality is they don't want to. It's like it's this idea of they really care about how does this vehicle handle reentry. In their minds, they know they can land it after the belly flop. They've proven that. That's done. The big unknown and the biggest test for this entire flight profile right now is how does this vehicle handle reentry? Can it survive reentry? Until we know that, I just don't even think they're that worried. They know they can do the flip maneuver. They know they can do the belly flop to tail down landing that Starship is going to be famous for. And I just think they're kind of going, you know what? Let's make sure we can do the reentry thing before we even waste time in engineering assets, you know, trying to, like, why would they load up and worry about all of that extra flight profile and software and all of that extra work if they don't even know for sure if it's going to re-enter? If that's, I think for the next one, for sure, they would probably, you know, most likely, if it survives re-entry and looks good, yeah, I think they would load up the final landing. But for now, like, they're not recovering it anyway. What good is it doing? You know, I get both sides of things. I get where you kind of say that's not a major milestone for this one because they've already done it. But I also get it's like, well, why not? Wouldn't you want to just test that if it survives re-entry anyway? Why wouldn't you want that in the flight profile? I don't know. I'm on both sides of that coin personally. Yeah. From Everyday Space Nerd in our Discord asking, do I think the chopsticks will get sheared off of the tower on the first catch attempt? I don't think so, honestly. I think my biggest concern with the chopsticks is that they have to be able to demonstrate movement after launch. So don't forget, you know, launch is a pretty dramatic and high energy event, especially when it's the world's most powerful rocket. You know, as we know, Starship is over twice as powerful as the Saturn V. Surprisingly, the launch pad does seem to be coming out pretty good after launch. However, how are those chopsticks going to survive launch? And then what will they look like, you know, immediately after launch? Or they be in good enough condition to, you know, close up and be prepared to catch the booster? So that's my biggest question. I think they're going to demonstrate, honestly, today or whenever this thing takes off. If it's not today, I genuinely do think the booster will do a very soft, very controlled splashdown with a landing burn. So, yeah. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a good point in Discord. That is a great hypothesis. I've never thought about this. One of the reasons they might not be doing the landing burn. This is a good speculation. I like this kind of speculation because it makes sense. The reason they might not be doing the landing burn is because they're transferring the propellant between the header tank and the main tank. So therefore, the header tanks are the landing tanks. So if they're just doing this as a demonstration, that's a $53 million contract with NASA to demonstrate cryogenic transfer between two tanks in space in zero-G. So they need to do that. They need to be able to do that to be able to demonstrate that they can do in space orbital fuel transfer. If they were to have to, you know, for the milestone, you know, transfer most of the landing fuel, just like, hey, we're going to drain this tank and put it all into the main tank. That would actually totally make sense. I'm willing to say that's probably the reason. Just from my personal gut feeling, yeah, that makes sense. People asking in chat, why was it delayed? We don't actually know exactly why. It could be weather. It could be wayward boat. We heard little reports of a wayward boat and the downrange. People I saw just saying they're asking what the Discord is. We do, of course, have we have a Discord for our Patreon supporters. So if you're a Patreon member, thank you so much. First off, hi and hello, Discord. Yeah, it's been an awesome community. If you do want to join our incredible Discord community, patreon.com/everydayastronaut. As you can, SpaceX did say clearing a few boats. Oh, they actually did say that in the tweet. I did not realize it got delayed because of boats. That is why it was delayed. I didn't even read past the 802. So yeah, that's why they are trying to keep boats out of the keep out zone. But 802 is good because it is after sunrise, so our views will continue to improve here. Hopefully that clears out the sky more and more. That is, in my world, that's kind of a good thing. So, but yeah, awesome. So for all of you 100,000 people watching with us live, welcome. We are coming up in T-minus 1 hour from another exciting launch of Starship. You are seeing on the left-hand side our thermal camera. On the right-hand side is one of our 4K cameras. And these cameras are from now on are just going to continue to improve because sun is rising. You can actually start to see a little bit of color in the sky back there. And our cameras, we have a whole array of cameras and exciting views for you guys. Lots of fantastic tracking assets, really, really high-end tracking assets. So get your own mission controls going, guys. If if you're at home, get all of your screens out, pull up as many feeds as you can. Yes, is there?
This just in, SpaceX is reporting that they have a new liftoff time of 8:02 a.m. because the team is clearing a few boats from the keep out area in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes, that's what our current T0 is, I think, right? Is 8:02. Yeah. Thank you, Capcom. Sorry, no, that is our current T0.
Coffee.
Yep, we are good. Thank you so much. Let's see. So yeah, back to we have all these awesome tracking assets. We will also be piping in portions of the SpaceX stream, especially at stage separation and things like that. We'll be keeping up to date with the SpaceX feed. So we're trying to provide for you guys a one-stop shop so you don't have to flip around. However, I highly recommend getting all your devices out for something like this. Pull up other feeds from Lab Padre and NASA Spaceflight. On X will be the official stream. SpaceX is not streaming to YouTube anymore. So we'll be integrating as many of those views in as we can, and mission control audio on air for you guys, so that you can and the hosted audio from SpaceX, so that you can join us, and we're trying to make this as easy as for you as humanly possible. But we will have some awesome views as our cameras. Again, as daylight starts to happen more and more here, you will start seeing more and more of our awesome views. And hopefully as the fog starts clearing, even things like our North Beach night view, it gives you a decent sense here of whether or not if we can actually see from here, because we are north. That's okay. I mean, that's okay. Oh, but big vent there. Big vent. Wow. That vent is interesting because that is indicative normally of prop load. Interesting. I mean, they have the T0 time. I wonder if there's a possibility they just load the vehicle and put it into... See, they have this hold that we've seen, and it's been the bane of our existence in the past, but it's a T-minus 40-second hold, and it just kind of sits there. That's a kind of the final bit of the terminal count. And for the last two, they've held it at that, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, go, and everyone's scrambling. There is a chance that if they feel good about the T0 time and everything's go for prop load, it almost feels like they're going for prop load a little early. Which I guess if you're all conditioned and ready to go for it, why not? I mean, you do lose propellant to boil off if it's sitting in the vehicle more than you would in the tank farm. But that does actually look like prop load already, guys. Wow. Interesting. So we're still going to be looking. Let's get that side-by-side pulled up again soon with a thermal camera and see if we'll start to actually see it loading on. I do like this north shot, though. That also gives me a sanity check of kind of what we're going to see from here, because that's far enough away that we get a sense of how much fog is between us and the rocket, although it could be even worse. So I'm trying to keep all eyes on all things here. It's now targeting, as of 42 seconds ago, Mary Liz, we are now targeting 8:10 a.m. to give the boats time to clear out of the keep out area. So we will move our clock 8 minutes again. Welcome to Spaceflight. If you are new to watching rockets, so now around the Cape and Vandenberg Space Force Base out in California, those two areas get so much traffic, spaceflight traffic, that a lot of the marine, the boaters, and the airspace, they're used to closures often. Down here in South Texas, a lot of the people aren't used to this happening. They still, it's not in their, who, if you grew up around here, who checks for spaceflight missions, you know, like on the regular, if you're out here on a boat or something. So it is still unusual. There's still people getting used to it. I have some empathy there, honestly. I understand where it's like, I don't know, why would I check the marine notices? You know, I was just doing my normal little fishing thing right here. I don't know. I have some empathy, especially there's a large area, a large bay where people can come in that's not like in the ocean. You can just drive out. You know, we used to actually have cameras out there, and it's not the best patrolled always, so it is easy for a boat to accidentally be in there fishing or doing whatever and not even know that they're in an exclusion zone. Like, you'd really have no way of knowing. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Okay, let's keep going here. So housekeeping items again. Yeah, we are T-minus 1 hour, 5 minutes. Pretty exciting stuff. Look at our tracker, has a nice clear shot to the pad. Again, our views are getting brighter and brighter as the sun will begin to come up over the horizon, almost as if we're... Imagine if it was predictable and like we're on a globe and I don't need to trigger the flat earthers. Dang it, what am I doing? Okay, yeah, so one more little housekeeping thing, guys. If you want to help support what we do, help us get even more cameras online and continue to build out our insane 4K infrastructure here, which has taken over the lives of way too many of us. I have roped in too many people into trying to make this happen today, and for all these launch attempts. There's a team. How many people are actually operating today? Is it 15? Around there, around 15 humans are on site and some remote too. We have 3 or 4 people remoting in. Are out here to help do this, which is just crazy. And many of those people are literally full time to build out the studio and fix stuff and work on things in between launches. Especially Andrew Keating and Ryan Shalinsky have literally been working since IFT2 7 days a week, like 10-hour, 12-hour, 15-hour days, to make sure that we are continually upgrading. Oh, which view is where? Oh, cool. That is from the south. That gives you, that's actually that's clearer than I thought. But again, as sun rises here in about 30 minutes, that'll just get even more clear. That is awesome. Oh, and it seems to... That one is through Starlink, so that one isn't quite as... These are still... I know everyone wants to go all Starlink on all of our views, but it's hard to beat these. Mr. T has data galore right now. We were hitting 800 megabits per second yesterday, which is insane between our points of connection. Plenty for our 4K feeds. Let's see. This is from Suds asking, if you join Patreon, how long does it take to get Discord access? I'm so happy you exist, particularly since SpaceX has abandoned YouTube. That's a good question, actually. I don't know. It should more or less integrate you automatically. If you're in the right tier, it'll automatically, I think, link with your email through Patreon. So just make sure that you're using the same email as Patreon and Discord. Otherwise, it can kind of get messy. But it should be more or less instant. I don't know. It's been a while since I've had to do it, the integrations or anything, because it's all been automatic. Yeah. Guys, I'm getting excited now. The sun's coming up. Do. Here comes the sun. Do. Not gonna do any more than that. Don't want the Beatles coming after me. All of them. Oh, look at that. The sky. I love that I'm getting excited about the sky getting brighter. Like, how how simple am I that I'm like, wow, the sky is getting brighter in the morning from night. What a treat. But yeah, here we are. Anyway, if you guys want to help support the work we do here, one of the best ways is to check out our incredible merch store. We do have a new shirt. I'm wearing a new pointy end up, flamey and down shirt. Yeah, it is awesome. And we have a lot of new merch. Sorry, I'm running over my own cable. If you guys want to help support the work we do, we have some new things in the store. Actually, one of the coolest things is we have a new, check this out. I think this is bad luck to do, so don't tell anyone. But we do have a new umbrella that is the inside of the cupola from the International Space Station. I mean, is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen? I don't know if you're familiar with the cupola, but come on. That is the coolest thing ever. everydayastronaut.com/shop. Get your own cupola umbrella. Get your own new shirts. We have Orbital t-shirt. Spencer, I don't know if you can pull up that right now if you're... It's, you know, anyone that... I don't believe in curses, so too bad. Yeah, we have some new shirts like our Orbital shirt. We have Mars hats back in stock. We have the ISS cupola umbrella. And, of course, we've got our Falcon 9 model rocket. We also have new Methalox shirts and Hypergolic shirts and Methalox, everything. We've got a lot of heat shield stuff, including our heat shield color-changing mug, which mine is obviously cooled off enough now that it's no longer red. It's all just black. It's too cold to be red anymore. And we also have, by popular demand, we do have long sleeve button-ups now of our Raptor engine shirt and our Lunar Lander shirt, our two best sellers. Have little tiny Raptor engines on your own shirt. People were saying that short sleeves are too informal. I guess that's probably true. But then don't forget to check out our RUDS section. So we actually we're clearing out. We have one of our best sellers, like our Formula One, oh my God, our F1 shirt. The other F1, our F1 shirt, we've got a handful still in stock and Aerospec, but they are selling out. As you can see, like our OG full flow shirt is sold out. But you can get everything in the RUDS section is 50% off. We're clearing up some inventory, including things like our RS-25 t-shirt. Things are selling out, though, so if you guys want to get some of your favorites, you know, don't forget there's multiple pages, by the way. There's page 2. I don't think anyone hardly makes it to page 2. We better start putting all the sold-out stuff on, like, page 3 so that people see what is in stock on page 1. But including our youth stuff, too. So if you want to get something for your little one, toddler, kid, whatever, everydayastronaut.com/shop. Shop around. Look around. We got some cool stuff. And it makes everything we're doing here possible. So thank you to all of you who support us. And look at that. We've got tank farm activity. Look at this shot. These cameras are just going to keep getting better, my friends. Still can see kind of how noisy it is, but as daylight approaches, it's just going to get better and better. Actually, if you look with that camera all the way to the right, do we see the Gateway to Mars sign from there? I think we can, right? I feel like you can kind of almost see it glowing there on the right, some like fringing on the right. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm trying to figure out what that glow would be otherwise. Anyway, yay! We are, oh, look at that shot. Isn't that hilarious? The difference between a camera that can handle high ISO and low ISO. We might actually finally have our overlays working. Do you want to try pushing a comment? Do you want to do the honors? Or I will. Let's, here we go from Johnny P. TBT. Oh, it's still not showing up on screen. I'm sorry. Saying there's 109,000 people watching, 106,000 watching right now. Only 16,000 likes. They're requesting a smash that like button. That is not from me. That is from Johnny P. TBT. You don't want to disappoint Johnny P. TBT, do you? The likes, honestly, I hate to be YouTuber-y about it, but honestly, the likes and the comments, all that stuff does really help the algorithm. Helps people come in and get ready. And we are T-minus 56 minutes, so we should start seeing some action here on the ship if prop loading is continuing on time, which who even knows at this point? I'm gonna refresh the Twitter feed from SpaceX, make sure we're not missing anything. Yeah, our camera can see the SpaceX entrance sign. That is probably where that glow is coming from. Very cool. So notice that's the first thing you see when you're driving in to see the Starbase launch pad. By the way, right between this camera and the infrastructure you're seeing is a public road. So people drive up and down that. You can't right now at this exact moment because they're about to launch the world's most powerful rocket. But when it's not launching a rocket, like yesterday, people are driving out, going out and enjoying the beach. It's crazy. If you want to know how to visit Starbase, where to go, where not to go, and where not to go is as important as where to go. I have a video about that. Just search how to visit Starbase. I'm sure you'll find it. Yeah, we'll tell you everything. It's incredible. Honestly, it's the opportunity to be able to come and be this close to a rocket, closer than this camera is to that rocket. When it's not launching, you can go stand and see it, and the view is unbelievable. It really is. Like, we won't always have this opportunity. You know, this is not always going to exist, where we have the chance to, for the general public and for us spaceflight fans, to get this close to a rocket. Even when we go to NASA, like, you know, I've been up on pad 39A. I've been, you know, right next to pad 39B. I've been right next, what feels like right next to rockets when they're about to launch. But in reality, we're still, you know, I think we're like on pad 39A when we're on those berms. I think we're still something like 300 meters away. So, you know, about 1,000 feet. Like, it feels close, but I think you're closer. I would actually like to get Google Maps out and measure. I think you're closer than that even when you are at the entrance to the rocket, which is just absolutely wild. This view is going to be fun in slow-mo, assuming it doesn't completely get occluded by clouds. But yeah, we'll be shooting that in 4K 120, and you'll watch that thing ascend, and it's going to be beautiful. Yeah. So we should start seeing, though, we're coming up on fuel loading time here, hopefully in the next minute or so. So let's try to get the thermal up side by side again. We'll probably have to aim Mr. T back over towards the rocket and kind of get it framed up, and we'll prepare our side by side as we get ready for fuel up. This will let us know if they are on time or not. Oh man, what are you guys thinking? Thinking 810 is gonna hold? So that's the current T0 is 810 local. We are at 7:16, so sun will be rising here in just a little bit here. But we currently are not seeing anything necessarily loading. That's a perfect view. Great job, guys. Currently not seeing anything per se, but prop load should begin soon, hopefully. Like we said, we're at T-minus 53 minutes would be when we expect to see locks being loaded on Starship on the upper stage there. So we're looking for vents, but so far it's... Mary Liz, do you want to try pushing a comment on air and see if it works on your end? Because maybe it's just me. Let me see if I can do one. Yeah, I still cannot. I can highlight them, but they aren't popping up on screen, sadly. A night launch, the sun will come twice today. You know, I was looking forward to it. Someday I do want to see a night launch of Starship. I'm really excited to see that plume interaction between, after stage separation between Starship and the booster. Doing a boost back burn with Methalox will be the most spectacular thing. It will look, there will be so many calls that there's a UFO in the sky, guaranteed. People will freak out. They will have no idea what they're seeing. But meanwhile, I will take daylight launches for now. I think that it does help, you know, burn off. I don't know. I like the daylight footage, especially at liftoff, seeing, you know, being able to have some fill light against the engines. Otherwise at night you kind of just get engine shots. It's just not as satisfying. So I am glad that we're moving into daylight now, because it could have, you know, 7, it could have launched. The launch window started at 7. It could have launched at night. Luckily now, you know, obviously throughout the rest of the year until the whatever it's called, equinox or whatever, you know, the sun will just be rising earlier and earlier. And I think that launch window will never really get... Look at this. People gathering at Isla Blanca on South Padre. Awesome shot. Yes, these are the shots that we've wanted to have for so long. That is Blaine out there. Thank you so much for being out there. All the people that will be celebrating and watching this launch. Crowd starting to join at Isla Blanca there. So cool to see families gathering. It is spring break time coming up here around the island. Is starting to get very busy. So this launch, I expect, I think if it happens to launch tomorrow or Saturday, it'll be right smack in spring break time. So plan around that. If you are trying to catch this launch in person, do know there might be induced extra traffic because of spring break. But meanwhile, let's make sure we keep the rocket on screen at all times. I do love that shot, and I want to keep that shot coming in here every now and then. But let's make sure we're kind of keeping the rocket on screen as we are awaiting prop load, which I'm not seeing any signs of right now. I gotta say, my personal feeling, again, my gut feeling is it's been pushed further beyond 8:10 a.m. Since we're not seeing any propellant loading onto the vehicle, I feel like our T clock will likely be updating, awaiting more information from SpaceX at this point. They're currently, 10 minutes ago is the last update we got for 8:10. It is not going to be 8:10 based on the fact that we're not seeing any prop loading. But watching. Again, they have until 8:50 local time here. So 8:10, they still have a 40-minute window, 40 additional minutes in this launch window to clear out whatever boats were in the way, causing the scrub. Okay, let's keep trying to go here. This is a... I am missing a lot. There's some big ones, like from Michael Klusterman saying, thank you for fully committing to your journey. I'm here to see this candle get lit. I owe a lot to that silly orange spacesuit. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that, Michael. By the way, we are hearing something spin up. And I'm hearing a lot more activity at the pad. That could be a good sign. We'd be likely behind. Nothing seems to have changed yet on the actual pad, but we are seeing, yep, there we go. We are seeing more activity at the tank farm again, which is indicative, again, that they might be going for prop load. So I'm guessing that tends to happen about an hour out. Yeah, we might be on for like an 8:20. Awaiting further information from SpaceX. But yeah, thank you so much, though, Michael Klusterman. That is a very generous donation, $50. Thank you so much. I'm just glad that you guys are here watching with us. There we go. Thermal camera is giving you a sense that the tank farm is spooling up. Actually, that's a good view. Go up a tiny bit more just so we don't crop the nose off there, because we can see the header tank loading in. But I do like seeing the tank farm spooling over there on the left. That is perfect. That is perfect. Okay. We're seeing some activity. This is a good sign. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times with the prop loading. Shame on all of us, I guess. I have no idea. But hopefully we get a new Tier 0 time. I think it'd be safe. You know, again, we're waiting for SpaceX to actually give us a new T0 time. But, oh, no, they have not. But it seems like this is looking like about an 8:20. So about an hour. I think it pushed 10 minutes. I think we will likely be adding about 10 minutes to the T0 clock. So don't freak out when that happens. Not all is lost. Edward R. asking infrastructure question. Are the distances involved for remote cameras that bad that you cannot use one of those point-to-point networking solutions? Keep up the good work. That's actually what we do. We have a lot of air fiber. We have a lot of, what were we using before air fiber? We still use air fiber, but we also were using just, what's that called? nano beams and thingy beams and oh my god, 2.4 gigahertz. Someone help, Andrew. Someone in my ear, just tell me what the other air fiber is that we were using forever, and still have Air Max. No, power beams. There we go. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Power beam. I was just out here drowning in sweat and tears, forgetting what a power beam was. But yeah, we use different solutions for different applications. So Starlink is getting better to the point where we can use it for a 4K stream. The big problem with Starlink is that its upload speeds still aren't phenomenal. You know, we're getting roughly 20 to 30 megabits per second up, which is good. That is if it's stable. You know, if it's constant 20 or 30, we can push 4K feed through it. But the problem is when we can't do multiple cameras from there.
Hey, Tim.
Yes.
This just in, we have a new T0 of 8:25 a.m. per SpaceX's tweet 12 seconds ago.
What was it?
8:25 a.m.
Okay, so we weren't that far off. Okay, that's great. 8:25. T-minus 1 hour. So we have about 7 more minutes until we see prop load beginning on the rocket. You can see the Starlink dishes in this shot here, guys. I love this. Now that it's getting brighter, we can actually see some stuff. Those little black boxes there, that is where the Starlink dishes are. So right there is the connector that connects the interface, the quick disconnect for the Starship. Yeah, this is exciting. This is exciting. Look at that. Oh, I just love that we have options. Mr. T RoboCam coming in clutch. This was one that was really important to me, is that we actually get this smooth zooms, smooth pan and tilt, smooth 6K, 60 frames a second at 6K. Come on. How can you not be excited about this stuff? When this thing takes off, it's going to be stunning. And I just hope, I wonder what our other views are getting, if it does appear to be getting a little bit more foggy at the exact moment. But sunrise coming up here, so prop load should begin here in about a little less than 6 minutes. We have not seen any prop load actually begin. We keep getting like really close, like is it? But this should be good. So, sorry? In my ear?
Venting on the tower right now.
Yes. That is more venting than we've seen. That is a very good sign. Likely about T-minus 5 minutes then until they actually begin loading liquid oxygen into Starship. So what they're doing right now, so they're purging, and liquid oxygen is obviously very cold. The pipes, however, are not at cryogenic temperatures at all times, obviously. So what you're actually seeing is gaseous oxygen pouring out of, you know, as they're starting to fill up the all of the pipes going up into the rocket. You're actually seeing boil off because, you know, liquid oxygen is really cold. It comes in contact with the relatively warm, you know. They might be cold by our standards. Like if you went up and touched the pipe right now, it'd still be so cold it could freeze your hand, but it might be too warm for liquid oxygen, therefore boiling it off and turning it into a gas. You know, the gas that we're familiar with. Most of us are probably most familiar with gas, with oxygen being a gas because we breathe it in. At minus 183 degrees Celsius, though, it turns into, I think that's about what it is. I always forget. I think it's about minus 183. It does turn into a liquid, and it densifies. It becomes almost 1,000 times more dense between a gas and a liquid. So that's why rockets use liquid propellant. They cool it down and densify it so that it can fit. They can fit as much propellant, as much potential energy, really, as they can inside of a fixed volume. So if they were trying to use, let's say they wanted to use gaseous oxygen and gaseous methane inside the rocket, the tanks would need to be roughly 1,000 times bigger, which wouldn't be quite 1,000 times heavier because the relationship between volume and, you know, things like the circumference of the rocket and all that stuff, but it would be much heavier. So obviously that would take away from your payload. I don't think it's even possible to use, like, I don't even know if you could lift. I don't even know if you could run a rocket on gaseous things and get even anywhere near space. Like it just, the rocket equation would be so nasty for gaseous oxygen and gaseous methane that it would be horrible. Wow. All right, yep, time for another. I think we got to do this about every 30 minutes. We're trying to purge the world of the fake, spam, and scam accounts. There's still tons of them. If you search right now on YouTube and say SpaceX or Starship, you will see about 10 or 20 scam streams. If you please report them. That's our only weapon we have right now as a community to fight misinformation and to help prevent people from getting scammed out of money, thinking that Elon's giving them Bitcoin or something for a rocket launch, which, come on, guys. I mean, I feel bad, but there are sadly gullible people that might see that and be like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know they're doing that, you know. But unfortunately, we see people then that are like, well, it blew up, and it just spreads misinformation. So, by the way, you can see a blimp there. That blimp is actually part of. I didn't realize that's only how high it is. I thought it was a lot. I think it is a lot higher than that normally. Oh, it's actually parked right now. It's just landed. Okay. That's actually part of Border Patrol, if I recall correctly, and the Coast Guard. So, not flying right now. It's an aero what? An aerostat? An aerostat. Didn't know. Thank you for that information. Cool. Aerostat. There it is. The Border Patrol Aerostat. But yeah, we got 137,000 people. Let's get some of you guys helping to report those fakes. If you see a stream that has a QR code, that's a red flag right there. Just report that. Get that out of here. That's our best weapon right now to fight these fake streams. We are truly live. If you're joining us, we are actually live in real life. Hello, everyone. To all of the people here, including a nice tip and a recommendation from Cywood saying make sure to select 4K manually. Mine was stuck on 1080p for some reason, and it doesn't do it enough justice. It is actually shocking when you're watching on a TV. The reality is, like, most of the time between 1080 and 4K, depending on how far you're sitting from a monitor, you really probably won't notice. However, the one thing you will notice on YouTube, the compression of 1080 is horrible. It just actually looks bad. That's what I notice when I'm watching. If I have to toggle between 1080 and 4K, it's like an instant, like, oh, like someone put glasses on. You're like, oh, everything looks way better. You don't see nearly as many compression artifacts. There's probably a lot more taxing on YouTube's end, but hey, come on. We are the only point-to-point from photon to your eyeball 4K stream available. So welcome. We are 5 miles or 8 kilometers away from this rocket right here in our studio. We will be going outside, which soon we need to actually get the bags off of equipment out there on the deck and prepare to go outside here. We'll probably do that at T-minus 30 minutes or so. But yeah, make sure you're watching in 4K. Send the stream to a friend if they're excited about this rocket. But we are coming up on what we expect to be prop load at T-minus 53 minutes. We expect to see liquid oxygen loading onto Starship. So let's go ahead and get this side-by-side up here if we have that available, so we can hopefully start to get a glimmer of whether or not it's actually loading onto the booster, because our thermal here will actually be able to cut through that condensation cloud pretty well, and you'll actually probably be able to see it loading up onto the ship. Because right now it's pretty obscured by the condensation, as you can tell. Hey, but good news, I see some of our trackers are still seeing things, which is fantastic. So we do have some line of sights. So we should be seeing propellant loading begin, starting with the ship with liquid oxygen. So we're just going to be looking for, basically, it'll start to look like a solid white line at Starship, pretty close to that condensation cloud, right around there. Currently, you know, the liquid or the gaseous oxygen is kind of blocking the visible light to there, but again, our thermal cam will actually probably start cutting through that once it gets cold enough. As the ship cools down, you'll actually start to see a line growing. Yeah, it's funny, the thermal cam's definitely working. However, the readout for the temperatures are way wrong. That is so funny. I'm glad that the thermal aspect is working. I'm confused why the yeah. Dang. This is crazy, guys. It is Yeah, it is happening. This is a good question from Justin Wood. Love the work you guys do. Question: How much extra propellant does SpaceX store in the tank farm on a failed load? How many retries would they have? So they're continually making upgrades. So some of this information might be not as valuable. But I think with the recent upgrades, they might have enough. If they load today, completely load and then scrub, I don't know what the reset time is anymore. Previously, it seemed to be almost 3 full days. If they had to totally filled, drain, they'd lose that much propellant that it would take 3 days to replenish. I suspect with the upgrades that's a lot quicker now, that we would likely, if they go totally full to the brim today and go for a launch attempt, and then they have to scrub it, I don't know if they can condense everything and get it back ready and replenish by tomorrow, but they might be able to. I don't think we've seen that yet. So we will see. Okay, so the venting on the tower has stopped. Is this another push? Not seeing any prop load.
SpaceX just tweeted that propellant load of Starship's upper stage is now underway as of 30 seconds ago.
Okay, so that means they closed the vent valve on the tower and they are officially loading. So now we should start to see Starship. We're looking for a white line here. So that's should crop up pretty close to the chopsticks there. Wow. So they're moving forward, guys. It is actually moving forward. We are officially into prop load. Let's keep that, if we can, let's keep that thermal up side by side. That is actually quite valuable. Oh, I see what you guys are doing. You're trying to line it up real tighty, aren't you? Oh, we're drifting. It was in a good spot where it was. So we should actually start seeing the upper stage getting white. White would be propellant, cryogenic propellant showing up through the stainless steel skin of the rocket. Now you will notice on this side of the rocket, the side facing our cameras here, that the rocket is stainless steel, just bare stainless steel. But on the upper side, or on the opposite side there, you can start to see the black on the left-hand side of the ship. That is the thermal tile system. That is the side that will re-enter. And there are no heat shield tiles on the leeward side, on the part that is not experiencing re-entry heat, because it's just not necessary. So why add that extra mass? Why add that all the extra things involved in putting the heat shields on? If you don't have to do it, then don't do it. So that's exactly why the heat shields don't. And same with vehicles like the space shuttle or any capsule has a heat shield. But you would actually also see the frost line and see it here with our thermal camera. I am surprised though that at this point, our stream, apparently we're having reports that our stream is dropping out. I don't know if anything's happening on our end. Andrew or anybody, do we still have comms and stuff? Are we... Okay, we're looking here, trying to see what's going on. Trying to see if it's anything on our end or if it happens to be YouTube. Wouldn't be great if it was on YouTube's end. Everyone just do a refresh on YouTube. Sometimes the stream has been live for 8 hours and 40 minutes and it's 4K. YouTube servers might be like, oh, do we still have to do this? So go ahead and refresh the YouTube feed. Let us know. We will... It's buffering for people still. Yeah, let us know if you guys in disc, 4 views without me talking. So if that's of interest of you and you want to continue your own mission control in your own house, being a supporter anywhere, we have a link. So if you support on YouTube as a subscriber, or as a member, Patreon supporter, or an ex-subscriber, we did post a link to our clean feed. It's 4 different views. They just kind of stay up the whole time. So if you're one of those people with multiple monitors and you're trying to watch every single angle, you can add 4 more. And you can just hear, if you don't want to hear me talk, I totally get it. Don't worry. I won't take offense to that. I'm here just watching with you guys, trying to keep you guys as up to date as possible. And I know they said prop load has begun, but I'm not seeing it on thermal. But we should be getting close to prop loading on the booster. And there is a lot of condensation. Oh, the black line on the tower. That is crazy. What is black? Black should be hot on thermal, right? And white is cold. Okay. Wow. Wow. So like heat pump style. Like there's likely the black part is the heat coming out of the system. And the white is, so it is probably flowing. We're just not yet seeing it. It might still be filling the bulkheads, and we might not be seeing it yet. How are our views looking out there? Still foggy. Still foggy. Really hoping sunrise has happened, right? 7:38. Sunrise has happened. However, we need more of that sun to burn off those clouds and the fog that is sitting over us right now.
SpaceX has tweeted that prop load of the Super Heavy booster is underway as of 30 seconds ago.
That lines up with their timeline. Oh, there we go. Ring. A ring has begun on the ship too. You can finally see a white ring on the ship. Yep, there is that. Our thermal camera proves that they have been loading propellant. Don't forget, you won't see it until it really gets, because there's a bulkhead. So there's like a bowl. Imagine a bowl inside of a tube. You won't see it while it's in the bowl part, and so you don't actually see it. It won't affect the outer skin until it gets to the upper rim of that bowl, and then it'll just be filling like a cup. So they could have been filling it for a while, and you don't see it. So that is great news. That is great news. Cool, cool, cool. Ooh, yeah, and a black line on the booster. That also must be like a purge line or something interesting. I've never seen these black lines. I need Zach from CSI Starbase to tell me why there'd be black lines on the booster there. I mean, that would be coming between, that's the common dome. It goes right up to the common dome between the methane tank and the oxygen tank. But that's shocking how contrasted that is. It's so crazy. You can't see that on, the visible light, but you see it. You sure do see it on the thermal cam. Again, ignore. I wish we could turn off the temperature overlay. I don't know if we can, because it is so wrong. But the thermal camera is very much working. This is so cool. And now you start to see on the booster as well. Look at the bottom of the booster. We can watch live as the propellant fills the vehicle. That is so freaking awesome. Come on. Are you not entertained? We are. Oh, I'm getting excited. Now that I know, like, the rocket is filling with propellant. It is looking fantastic, everybody. Yes. This is so great. We're still getting dropouts on YouTube. That's not great for us. I think everything on our end data-wise is actually good. So sadly, it might be a YouTube ingest issue right now, which is very not good for us, and that'd be far out of our control. We are firing on all cylinders, believe it or not, for on our feed, right? Our data is solid, right? I'll get confirmation here from production land. They might be troubleshooting. Yeah, our connection is totally solid. So unfortunately, that is crazy that it is that is crazy. Yeah, even YouTube Stream Health says excellent connection. Stream Health is excellent. YouTube's happy. I don't know why. This might be, I recommended earlier making sure you're in 4K. Maybe too many people. Maybe, I mean, think about it. We have 136,000 people. Maybe the servers can't keep up with that. We might need people to watch in 1080. Like, that might actually be what's happening. Our connection is fantastic. YouTube is actually happy from us, which is weird. Wow. Yeah, the fog is getting worse right now. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. But look at the propellant loading on the booster and on Starship. Wow. It's happening, my friends. In Discord, I don't know if you guys can hear everyone okay, but it's YouTube. Apparently, NSF is having similar failures too. People asking, let's do. We got a lot of people here that are new. Let's go ahead and do kind of a rundown on what we're seeing and what we're about to do. This thing is by far the most powerful rocket to ever fly. Today's flight test, they're really hoping they have some big milestones. So they're feeling quite a lot more confident and have milestones that we have not seen on prior flight tests. So they do expect to get through stage separation today. It is still a suborbital trajectory, but it's re-entering in the Indian Ocean. The upper stage will be re-entering in the Indian Ocean, so passing over Africa and re-entering off the coast of Madagascar, re-entering in the Indian Ocean. And the biggest milestones for them is during that coast phase, after Starship engine cutoff, it'll be in space floating and heading over towards that way for a good, I believe it's about an hour more or less. We can see in the timeline here. Let me take a look at timeline. Re-enter is 50 minutes, I guess, after. So it'll begin re-entry after 50 minutes. It'll do a Raptor relight at 40 minutes. So it'll spend, 30 some minutes in space in zero-G environment, suborbital though. So they're never targeting orbit. The 3 milestones we're expecting to see during those 30 some minutes. What did I say? 50 minutes. So basically they'll have like 41 minutes more or less of 40-ish minutes of zero-G environment, suborbital trajectory. They have 3 milestones they're hoping to achieve today. They're going to do a simple open the payload bay door, make sure it works, open and close. It's the small one. They have a little tiny little door that looks kind of like a mouth that's just opens, and then on future missions they'll start deploying Starlinks out of that flat, like a Pez dispenser is actually by far the best way to describe it. And they call it the Pez dispenser, and there's a reason for it, because it looks like a Pez dispenser. And they'll be opening that door and closing it. They will also be doing a fuel transfer test between the header tank and the main tank. That's an exciting milestone. If they complete that successfully, that is a milestone for a NASA contract to prove out on orbit or zero-G, transfer of large amounts of cryogenic propellant. So that's very exciting. And then the other big milestone is they are trying to relight the Raptor engine, and relight a Raptor engine to simulate a deorbit burn. And so basically, it is a suborbital trajectory the whole time. They won't put this thing into orbit until they know they can relight a Raptor engine to safely re-enter. So that's a very big milestone, and we expect to see that at about T plus 40 minutes. So we will, of course, be bringing you guys coverage, bringing in the SpaceX feeds and reporting along with you guys during all those milestones that we hopefully get feeds of. We'll hopefully have feeds and not just have to be like, oh, they did it. We do expect that, assuming that Starship gets through its big primary objectives of getting through those portions, and it makes it through the full burn. The other primary objectives the booster will hopefully be doing a boost back burn, so returning back towards the launch site, but not to the launch site. That's a pretty important distinction. And they will be attempting to do a landing burn over the water. So a soft landing, making sure they have control over the booster the whole way, validating all of the things like the grid fins, that it can handle re-entry. Don't forget, Starship is doing something different than the Falcon 9. The Falcon 9 has to do a re-entry burn. It has to slow down before it enters the primary, the thickest part of the atmosphere. Not the thickest part of the atmosphere, but they slow down before they begin to really re-enter so that the atmosphere doesn't damage the booster. Starship, on the other hand, made out of stainless steel instead of aluminum, can just handle re-entry, or so they're hoping. A similar thing happens even with Rocket Lab's Electron. They just let that thing re-enter. They just make sure it's oriented correctly, and they give it, little beefing up of the engine section to make sure it can handle that re-entry heat, and they just let it happen. And that is pretty crazy, honestly. So that's what Starship's hoping to do, is just basically super heavy booster will just re-enter. And yeah. So, and then simulate a landing burn. So that's what we're expecting to see out of the booster today. Scott Manley is reporting that weather is not cooperating right now. Yeah. Let's see here. So prop loading is going very quickly. Prop loading is absolutely flying. Look at that. I love that you can literally see exactly where it's at. Yes, you can sometimes see the frost line on the booster, but how much better is thermal cam? Thermal cam for the win. Let's see here. T-minus 32 minutes. SpaceX is not live yet. If you see something saying SpaceX live, unless it is not live yet. So anything you see that says SpaceX live is not real, although it's probably getting close. It is getting close. Let's see here. Just making sure our team is ready to ingest audio. They are live. Okay, that's good news. We will be bringing in that as soon as we can. It's happening, guys. So we got a lot of people to thank here. We got 157,000 people watching with us live right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, at about T-minus 10 minutes, I will be going outside. We are 5 miles, 8 kilometers away from the world's biggest rocket flying Starship. This is a rocket that I'm currently slated to fly on with the Near Moon mission around the moon, which is crazy to think. So I'm excited to see progress and see milestones for this rocket. I'm really expecting today that we see this thing make it through both the booster and the Starship burns, that we see a re-entry of the booster, and I'm expecting to see re-entry of Starship in it, and I expect to see the 3 milestones as well. So it is very, very exciting. We are coming up on the 3rd launch opportunity, the 3rd launch of this full stack vehicle. A lot of improvements made over Flight 2. If you don't know those improvements, by the way, we have enough time. Grab another device. You have 8 minutes and 45 seconds to watch. We have a video on the differences between Flight 2 and Flight 3. So I don't want to go into all those too deep. Tons of little tweaks. Elon commented on Twitter, on X, sorry, that there are thousands of tweaks between the two. I don't doubt it. I don't think all those are hardware, but software as well. So we are definitely seeing that they are filling this rocket and getting ready for launch. This is fantastic. So for all of you watching, don't forget, guys, if you're trying to find another source, anything that says SpaceX and has a QR code is fake. But if we can start piping in, I would love to hear and listen to the stream. I need to take a break anyway, but if we can get the official audio up so you guys can start listening into official feeds, then we can all be informed together. We are working on it. We will get it here in your ear holes. Yeah, we're waiting until it's relevant information about the mission, and then we'll start piping audio in for you guys, so you guys can stay up to date with us. We'll all learn together, and we'll all be able to witness this together. And don't forget, of course, guys, if you're not subscribed, do, not because I really care about the subscriber count or anything, but because we'll be putting a compilation together of our 27 cameras that we have out there that are all recording in at least 4K, and some in much higher frame rates than 120 frames a second. We are going if you guys ever wonder where all your generous super chats go, like from Stupid Bear with 100 Canadian dollars, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. We put it all right back in. Yeah, we put it all right back in. Yeah, I think we're good to stop showing the IR cam now and start showing just some views now that we kind of, I love those two shots, look so similar. One of them is pan and tiltable and a little bit off angle. This one's fantastic, though. This is so good. We can see the frost line. We know where they're at. We don't need thermal cam anymore. Thermal cam was great, but I think this is good enough now. We know where we're at. So, yeah, I can't wait. I don't know if you guys saw and listened and heard our last IFT2 compilation, but we got some good footage, and we have literally like double the amount of cameras this time placed all throughout, and hopefully, you know, views continue to improve here. But we will see. Oh, you can see. Hey, let's stop there, Colin. I don't know if you can go back up for a second. I do want to show that payload bay door just above the chopsticks. You will see the payload bay door right there. That kind of goofy looking grin. Oh, sorry, he's got a little bit of a delay there. Go a little bit lower, right where the chopsticks meet the rocket, basically. As soon as you can see those, that'll be right there. It's perfect. So that's the payload bay door. It's tiny. And that's because this first Starships that will launch will only be launching Starlink satellites, and they'll be doing that probably dozens of times before they get into other operations. That'll give them a chance to validate and improve and tweak and make better and more reliable their vehicle while they're flying their own stuff. Starlink is a SpaceX product. You know, for them, it's more or less disposable. They're not flying a, important, payload for the military or for another customer, just flying Starlink missions. And so all they need is that little itty bitty tiny door right there. And they can just quite literally Pez dispense things out that little slot there. So that's what you're seeing there is the payload bay door that we will hopefully see an in-space demonstration of today. They will open it and close it. This is the first time they have had an operational payload bay door. Prior, it's always literally just been sealed shut. So so that's exciting right there, just knowing that we're actually getting more milestones like that. So yeah, timeline here we are. The next thing we're expecting to see here is the engine chill-in on booster and ship. So you'll actually, might not be able to see it too clearly, but they do start flowing cryogenic propellant into the turbo pumps and through some of the regen channels of the engines to get them ready, not for the extreme heat of the engine, believe it or not, but the extreme cold of the propellant. The propellant comes in so freaking cold, minus 180 degrees Celsius, that it can make the metal brittle. If you try to shock and just all of a sudden start flowing thousands of gallons or thousands of liters of cryogenic propellant through those engines without them being thermally conditioned, you will actually break the engines. So they need to start thermally conditioning those. So that's what we're going to see here at about T-minus 19 minutes and 40 seconds. You will start to see, we might see it here at the interstage interface, but yeah, we'll have to see there. The next milestone that we'll see, or hear, hopefully too, we'll start bringing in mission control audio, would be booster propellant load complete and ship propellant load complete. And then T-minus 50 seconds, we will hopefully know that they are go for launch for sure from the flight director. Woo! Milestones, baby. Milestones. Do we have a feed we can listen into yet? I'm cool. I'm anxious to hear. I always do like hearing those. You can see too from our wide angle. I don't know, Spencer, if it's easier for you to see, but we'll be stepping outside here soon to be able to head outside and hopefully be able to catch it. I hope we can see it from here. I don't know if Sapphire is able to start seeing it yet.
And from there, the ship will head toward its
I have no idea.
destination,
Outside, we
location
need to take the bags
in
off and
the
stuff.
Indian Ocean.
We are at T-minus 25 minutes.
Again,
Let's see if we can get maybe
past a
Pisani out here
successful stage
to
separation and a full ascent burn
Ooh,
with
yes.
the upper stage. It will be at an added altitude and trajectory below orbital, meaning Starship won't have to fire its Raptor engines for a deorbit burn, and it will naturally come back into the atmosphere no matter what.
Now, meanwhile, the Super Heavy is going to attempt a landing burn before splashing down into the Gulf. And while we are going to practice a landing, we aren't planning to recover any of the hardware from Super Heavy or the ship on this flight. Now, with the exception of Falcon, this is no different from what happens with most rockets flying today that are expended or fall into the ocean after they complete their mission. Eventually, though, we will land and recover Starship boosters and ships, just as we do with Falcon 9 and Heavy boosters, where we've recovered 283 to date. Starship's rapid reusability is key as we begin missions to the moon and beyond.
I'm going to take a real quick break here as we're getting ready, and I'll be right back, but we'll have you guys listen in here to the feed.
Particularly with regard to the ship's temperatures during re-entry and how the heat shield will perform. The data that we gather today, of course, will help us continue to build a rapidly reusable Starship for the future. Now, much like our first 2 flight tests, today also still just a test. Our goal is to gather data to continue iterating and ultimately improve Starship.
That's exactly right. The primary goal for Flight 1 was to clear the pad, and we did that and got a lot of great data that helped us improve the vehicle and the pad infrastructure that you see today. The primary goal of Flight 2 was to get all the way to stage separation, which we did, and even got a little extra.
For Flight 3, we've added some ambitious tests highlighted by an attempt to transfer several tons of propellant between the tanks inside Starship itself, as well as the first ever relight of a Raptor engine in space and the opening and closing of Starship's payload door. When Starship takes astronauts to the lunar surface as part of NASA's Artemis program, it will be refilled in space by a Starship tanker spacecraft before boosting itself into a lunar orbit, like you see here. Transferring a large amount of cryogenic liquid in space has never been done by anyone, ever. So, we'll be looking to get data on some of the fundamental physics in play here, like managing pressures, temperatures, propellant settling, all as we prepare for eventual ship-to-ship transfers. The ability to refill Starships once in orbit will be critical for landing on the moon and is a key technology for enabling deep space exploration and ultimately flights to Mars.
Now, we're also attempting the first ever relight of a Raptor engine in space, and we'll need that capability for future in-space maneuvers and deorbit burns. It's important to note that what we'll attempt today is not a burn required for Starship to re-enter on today's test. We are intentionally flying this new steeper trajectory so we can test things like engine relights without substantially changing where we expect to splash down. And if Starship manages to make it all the way to re-entry, we will collect valuable data on the vehicle as it flies through the Earth's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, or more than 5 times the speed of sound. We expect it'll look something like this animation on your screen with the heat shield tiles facing down. We'll use the Earth's atmosphere to brake the vehicle and then get us into a controllable regime as we go towards splashdown. Now, we did validate Starship's ability to fly and land at subsonic speeds during our suborbital flights several years ago, and gathering data on the aspects like heating and vehicle control while we're traveling way faster will become critical to eventually bringing Starships back from space for rapid reuse.
We'll also attempt to open and close Starship's payload door for the very first time, a capability that we'll need when Starship starts flying our next generation Starlink satellites. And there you can see an animation of what that will look like as the satellites are deployed one by one through a slot near the top of the spacecraft. So, at this point in time, we are approaching T-minus 21 minutes until liftoff. Let's check in with Dan for a countdown update.
Hey, thanks, Kate. Hey, everybody. I'm Dan Hewitt. Good morning. Welcome to Starbase. I'm coming to you from the Raptor's Nest, where I'm here with some of our flight controllers, also our Pad Red team. We're just behind the Mega Bay. Those are our Super Heavy boosters right behind me, getting ready for the next 4 flights after this one. So we're looking to launch a lot this year. The countdown has been pretty clean so far. We're not tracking any issues that are gating us on the hardware side and the vehicle side from that on-time liftoff at 8:25 a.m. Central Time. That's our T0 right now. We primarily shifted later as we were just working to clear the range. The other big watch item today is going to be the winds. The winds have started to pick up. We're still looking to be below our limits, but there could be a hold at T-minus 40 seconds just to make sure that the winds are acceptable before we go. We are actively loading propellant on board the vehicle. You can see by the frost line starting to build up. Looks like we're about 80% on the ship main tanks right now, and a little over 60% on the booster. Now, Starship uses liquid methane as its fuel, liquid oxygen as its oxidizer. Both of those get cooled down to cryogenic temperatures, so several hundred degrees below zero. And if you followed along with our previous 2 flight tests, the prop load timeline today looks a little bit different. Those first flight tests, it took us about 90 minutes to load all of the prop on board. But since the second flight, we made some pretty significant upgrades to make that time shorter. We added some additional fuel and LOX pumps just to increase our capacity. We expanded the number of heat exchangers and installed a dedicated fill drain line for each stage. But they were sharing one before, now they each have their own. That's just that main pathway to get the propellant to the vehicle. We're aiming for about 51 minutes for today's operation to fully load prop. We did that successfully on our wet dress rehearsal that we did recently. Eventually, though, we're trying to get that time down to about 40 minutes. Just for some context, that's about 5 minutes longer than we take on Falcon 9, but we're doing it with 10 times the amount of propellant. Now, the propellant load on ship started at about T-minus 53 minutes, booster right around T-minus 42 minutes. We are about to pause loading on the main tanks of ship, switch over to the header tanks, and then switch back to close out the main tanks. We're expecting all of the prop to be on ship at about T-minus 3 minutes 30 seconds, and then booster prop load ends at T-minus 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, our final countdown and startup sequence is going to be the same as Flight 2. We already tested this on this booster when we did its static fire. Looking back for Flight 1, we lit those Raptor engines on the booster and lifted off about 6 seconds later. Flight 2, we reduced that time by almost 2 seconds. That just helps reduce the stress on the ground systems, improve the efficiency of the rocket. But right now, we're just about to pass 18 minutes away from launch. Winds, again, they're still looking a little bit marginal, so we'll keep an eye on those. We're not working any other technical issues, and the range is expected to be green. If we can't make our test today, we have backup launch opportunities in the coming days. Could be 24 to 48 hours, all just depends on how far we get into the count. So check back in with everybody in just a little bit. For now, though, I'm going to send it back to Kate and Shiva out at Hawthorne.
Thanks, Dan. The countdown is continuing to progress, so let's take a closer look at the world's most...
Okay, so we heard a ton of information right there from Dan from SpaceX, and I just wanted to kind of bring a few things, drill in a few more things here. So do remember that we are bringing their X feed into our stream, but then there's a delay between the SpaceX stream and us, and then from us to you guys. So if our countdown clock is synced to the local time, so our countdown clock between real life and you guys is probably about 20 seconds. You're probably about 20 seconds behind real life. And you can actually probably see that just if you look at your local time, and look at our countdown clock, you'll probably see 20, 25 seconds. So if you're watching both the X feed and us, you might notice that we appear to be 20 seconds behind. Our clock should be relatively similar, actually. However, if you're hearing audio on them, it will be delayed in our feed because it has to go through us first and then to you guys. So it's kind of a delay on a delay. But keep in mind, if you are local and you are watching, if you're trying to watch this in person, don't forget we are 25 seconds or so behind reality. So make sure you're at T-minus 30 seconds, your eyes on the rocket and you're glued, maybe even earlier. I always think at T-minus 1 minute, don't take your eyes off the rocket. So if you're local here, if you're out at Isla Blanca Park or wherever, if you're trying to catch us live and you're listening to my voice right now, don't rely on our countdown clock. You are seeing a delay. There is a delay, and just keep that in mind. Even also, same thing if you're watching the X stream and you see the countdown clock, there is a delay. So just keep that in mind. We don't want you to miss the rocket because you're too busy, counting down. So keep that in mind. Wow, this is crazy though. We are coming up on it here at T-minus 15 minutes. We are coming up on our checkout here. For what's going to be happening on our end at T-minus 15 minutes, we have an internal check on our cameras. So I wanted to show, we do have Everyday Astronaut mission control here on our end. So we actually have this incredible system built by our friends at Gwin Partners that gives us access to most of our cameras. It's funny because we have to keep growing this. Like I said, we actually have 27 assets now. But this actually allows us to see some of our cameras that we don't have access to otherwise. So we do see that we are missing, it looks like North Beach wide is probably out for now, but yeah, this is pretty incredible though, that we can control our cameras. So we have our own mission control here where we control our cameras and our feeds. So we are getting ready to hit record all probably. Should we do it now at T-15? Is that okay to start recording? Or we should have plenty of, what's fun here is we actually see how much time we have. We have 200 minutes, 71 minutes. I think we hit record all now, just so we know that we're good to go. How does everyone feel about that? I think that's safe. I'm going to go ahead and go for it. Record all. Proceed. And it will be fun to start seeing that verify recording. You can learn more about this by going, I think it's everydayastronaut.com. It's pretty cool. You can learn more about it by going to gwinpartners.com. That's GUINN partners.com. The insane amount of work has gone into this interface to help us manage all of our cameras and everything. So huge thank you. We can even see the temperatures and everything, make sure cameras aren't overheating. Huge asset for us. So thank you so much to Gwin Partners for helping us do what we do. Back to the rocket. Yes. Look at that thing. So as you heard, we'll bring the SpaceX feedback in here. Especially when I go outside, we'll probably just be listening in. I probably just won't comment at all until we're T-1 minute. Because of that delay, we're going to be, ooh, look at this. Top down, the sky is clearing. I like seeing that. I like to see that. The sky is clearing. I really want to be able to see this thing fly. If it gets right into a cloud or if we are obscured. But look at that. It is definitely clearing out up there. That is so good to know. I hope that right now Sapphire still looks kind of fogged out. Can we do like a quick camera check of some of our, kind of do a little rolling. So this is from the North Beach here. That'll be a fantastic shot. We also have a few more, but I just want to do a systems check, even if they're not good, just to know where we're at as far as what they will be recording. This is one of our trackers here. I think this is from Tarpon. Is that right? Yep, that's Tarpon. So that's one of our trackers. This is Sapphire Cam. This is 20-something stories up on South Padre Island. You can see South Padre Island, the Isla Blanca Park down there in the bottom. Currently still clouded out from there at the moment. However, things change quickly. Things can change very quickly. Yeah, I really hope that. What else do we have here? We've also got, this is the view from Isla Blanca Park. Man, I hope these people all get to see something besides clouds. This is from, which one's this? This is Rio. So this is from the south. This is what Ryan is currently seeing. Really hope that clears up for him. Really hope that clears up for him, because that's our red camera, actually. That's our 4K global shutter red camera. Actually, I think we're shooting in 5K or 6K. I don't remember what we landed on. But yeah, it is. Dang. Hopefully that clears up even more. What else do we have here? We have another. We have this top of the tower shot here. That's stationary. That'll be fun. Hopefully that doesn't get too occluded. We do see venting coming out of the header tank of the nose right now. So they are doing as they said, which is venting from the nose. We've got another camera here looking at Isla Blanca. I'm not entirely sure. I probably do know why. These are mostly for recording assets. Yeah, that is awesome. Let's see. I think that's most of them that are on. We have Tarpon 2, but that looks a little overexposed right now. If we want to let Brian know. But yeah, those are most of what the views are online. We do have our Jetty cam, but our connection to it is not good enough to take to air probably. But we'll show you what that might see in the recording is this view, which is not good for live. So we'll take it off of there. But that is looking at the rocket and the waves. Oh, it's actually getting pretty now. It's actually getting pretty now. I think from now on, let's just keep the rocket in whatever is the best view. That is a beautiful, beautiful shot, though. All right, I'm going to kind of start shutting up here and start listening to SpaceX again. I'm going to get ready to go outside and prepare to stream from there. Before we do that, I did want to thank, there's 175,000 of you watching right now. Huge thank you to those of you watching. If you want to support the work we do here at Everyday Astronaut, we have a massive team now, 15 people operating today's stream. It's taken a lot of work to be able to produce 4K out here in these remote locations. We're recording on so many cameras and so many systems. It's crazy. So thank you all so much for the generous donations. I'm so sorry that we're not even able to hardly get through them and even mention them. We can't bring them up on screen. That is a problem that we're still working on, that we'll hopefully be able to get. We will be sticking around after launch to answer your questions as long as we can, kind of have a post-launch stream and party, hopefully. But if you want to support the work we do here, one of the most fun ways is to check out our new merch, including our new orbital shirt. Although today's rocket is not going orbital at any point, don't think that it's going into orbit. It will not be reaching orbit. We do have an awesome new orbital shirt. everydayastronaut.com/shop. Pick up some awesome merch for yourselves, including our new pointy end up, flaming end down shirt that I absolutely love. Yeah, we also have new Mars hats back in stock. We have our Falcon 9 rockets on sale. If you haven't picked up one of our incredible Falcon 9 rockets, go ahead and do that. And Spencer, I don't know if we can get the shop in here. The ISS Cupola umbrella. Yeah, pretty awesome new stuff. And we have, by popular demand, we finally have long sleeve shirts for our button-ups. So get over to everydayastronaut.com/shop. Shop around. We'll put that all right back into our system here to make sure we have the best coverage for you guys. Heat shield, color-changing heat shield mugs. Lots of heat shield stuff, including oversized beach towels, Methalox shirts, hypergolic shirts, pointy end up, flaming end down. Our new orbital shirt is amazing. ISS Cupola umbrella. And don't forget to check out our RUDS section. So 50% off of some classics like our F1 schematic shirt, our Aerospike tee, or even our full flow station combustion cycle hoodie is 50% off. Yeah, we're clearing up inventory, making room for some new stuff. Help support a channel, get some cool stuff for yourself at everydayastronaut.com/shop. All right, guys, I think it's time that I head outside and hopefully see another exciting and feel another exciting Starship launch. Again, we are 5 miles, 8 kilometers away from this behemoth, and we are T-minus 7 minutes and 35 seconds from seeing this thing launch. So I think I'm going to go outside, transition to outside. Yep. We will do some tweaking outside, and we'll be bringing you guys the SpaceX feed while I transition to outside. Give us I'll be back on air hopefully right before, T-minus 2 or 3 minutes. And we will be ready to watch a launch together. So here comes the SpaceX audio so you guys can listen in and be up to date. But I will be right back with you guys here outside, ready to watch another exciting Starship launch with you guys. All right, good luck. Let's hear it.
Iteration is a key of SpaceX.
Yeah, we've done it with all of our major innovative advancements, including Falcon, Dragon, and Starlink. We believe that if you're not failing, you're not learning and improving the design.
Yeah, many of the innovations that we've developed have come from our failures, and they teach us how to avoid the perils of spaceflight. It's a tough business. But all of this testing, all of the iterative design allows us to make the design better and better to do some of the great accomplishments with reflight that we've had so far.
Exactly. One of the examples that we love to talk about is the Dragon capsule, like the one located behind Shiva and I here on the mezzanine. Originally, it was not designed to be reusable. We wanted to prove the initial design. And then when we brought Dragon 2 online, we had to do a lot of corrosion analysis based on flights that had splashed down and analysis on hardware received there. And now our Dragons are reusable and also rapidly, at a much rapid pace than they used to be.
Yeah. So, I mean, great learnings from our original Dragon to our new crew and cargo vehicles have directly improved the operations, and they've helped us change our understanding of what's possible when it comes to rocket and spacecraft reusability. Now, we're just under T-minus 6 minutes, so I think it's another good time to check in with Dan for the rest of terminal count. How are we looking, Dan?
Thanks, Shiva. We're looking good. 5 minutes, 35 seconds, and we're counting down. We are just about at closing the prop load sequences on booster and ship. Just a reminder, ship we're going to close out at around 3 minutes and 30 seconds, booster at about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Once all of that prop is loaded on board, we'll have about 10 million pounds of propellant on both stages of Starship. Now, after that happens, we'll go through a couple of different procedures with the ground. We'll do what's called pushbacks, clearing out the lines between our prop farm and the vehicles themselves before we get to launch. And then in the next few minutes, we'll get the final guidance system alignments, some final thrust vector control on the booster checks, and all that will be performed. And again, if we need to hold, we have a hold gate built in at T-minus 40 seconds where we can hang out. It sounds like today we'll have about 15 minutes to hold at T-minus 40 if we need to. If we hit that right now, it looks like the most likely reason would be winds. We're not tracking any technical issues to our T0 at 8:25, just about 4.5 minutes from now. So, I mean, everything's really looking good. The booster's almost at full frosty, so we'll see that close out in just a couple of minutes. But we're getting really close to flight, guys.
The excitement is definitely growing here in Hawthorne, SpaceX headquarters. There is a large crowd gathering. You might hear them cheering occasionally. Now, Dan mentioned a good point about the holds. We have an opportunity to today hold for a few minutes. And this is a really cool thing about Starship. And we don't have this opportunity with Falcon or Falcon Heavy. Up until the T-minus 40-second point, aborts are just holds. So anything that would trigger an abort prior to T-minus 40 seconds becomes a hold. So that's a really cool feature to allow the team to wait for final checkouts or assess prop levels, engines, avionics, vehicle pressurization. It's really helpful to ensure a liftoff.
Yeah, and that's something that is very different from Falcon. I'm sure people have watched our launches, and then we get right down past prop load and then have to scrub because of weather or scrub because of an issue on the vehicle. And we don't have the same constraints on our propellant and our system with Starship, which gives us more availability in the window. And sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes the winds dip just enough where you can launch the rocket safely. And otherwise, if you didn't have that ability to hold a few minutes, you might miss that window and then have to recycle to another day.
Yeah, exactly, which is kind of like today. Like we mentioned earlier, winds are the thing that we are watching, so good news there. So we are still continuing to progress. We're looking at liftoff in just under almost 2.5 minutes from now. Super exciting. Like we said before, there's nothing more exciting than watching a test flight for a developmental program, and that's where we're at today.
And like we talked about, we have some really ambitious goals for today's test. But really, the point of today's test is to try to get as much data as we can so we can inform the next iteration of the design of Starship, work those things into flight test number 4 and new objectives there that'll eventually get us to that glorious, rapid, reusable future that we so badly want.
Yeah, for flight 1, we wanted to clear the pad, and we did. For flight 2, we wanted to get through hot staging separation, and we did. So today, we want to get even further than that and collect as much data as we possibly can. So with all that being said, we're going to check back in with Dan to take us through the final 2 minutes of terminal count.
All right, we are under 2 minutes away. We have closed out the prop load on the booster and on the ship. And we're starting to hear some good news that it looks like winds are not going to hold us up, so there's a good chance we blow right through that 40-second hold. So we're about 1 minute and 20 seconds away. Just walking you through one last time, we're going to see the engines ignite about 4 seconds before we hit our T0. They're going to ignite in 3 different banks. You'll get 13 of the inners, 15 of the outers, and then the last 5 ignite just 2 minutes before T0. And then after that, the quick disconnect will retract. The engines will start to throttle up, and then we'll see liftoff about 1.5 seconds after T0. So we're under 1 minute away. Don't be shocked if we hold at 40 seconds before, but it sounds like the winds are cooperating today. We'll be able to move right past that, not tracking any other technical issues that could hold us.
Proceeding past our QD vent gate.
Really QD vent gate past that 40-second hold.
Raptors build and rush.
Continuing to get good call outs. Our trajectory looking nominal, systems looking nominal. Just amazing to see all 33 lit up once again. At this point, we've already passed through max Q, that maximum dynamic pressure. And passing supersonic, so we're now moving faster than the speed of sound. Getting those onboard views from the ship cameras. Now the next major milestone is going to be a hot staging maneuver. Again, we're going to be doing that in just about 90 seconds. To do that, we're going to shut down all but the 3 center Raptor engines on Super Heavy. That'll be our MECO, our most engines cut off. And then the clamps holding the 2 stages together are going to release. Starship second stage will ignite its engines, the RVACs first, the sea levels right after that. The sea level engines will be splayed or just kind of pointed out at about a 15-degree angle. So if you look close and we get good tracking, you might be able to see those center right after. And so those 6 engines will push Starship off of the booster. All right, counting down now. We're going to be coming up right at around the 3-minute mark on that hot staging maneuver. Again, we'll see the booster engines start to shut down. You'll see all but 3 lights go out in the middle. And then we'll see the engines ignite on ship, pushing it away. And that will start carrying the ship into space. Booster will start to do its flip and then move into the boost back burn, setting it up for eventual splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Stage separation.
Wow. Wow.
Boost back startup.
Wow. Look at those views.
Hot staging confirmed.
Yes.
Booster's now making its way back, seeing 6 engines ignited on ship.
Yes.
Kate, we got a Starship on its way to space and a booster on the way back to the Gulf.
Oh man, I need a moment to pick my jaw up from the floor because these views are just stunning. These are live views from Starship. First stage is currently performing the
ship avionics, power and telemetry nominal.
Good there, news informing us that the second stage or the ship, everything looking good, nominal there. First stage is currently performing the boost back burn, expecting that to last about 1 minute. That boost back burn, propels the booster back towards the coast, taking it to a landing in the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. We're only using the Super Heavy boosters, 13 center engines from here on out. As whenever they relight, you'll be able to see that in the left bottom corner. Those are the ones that can gimbal. In other words, they move and change direction in order to change the thrust to steer the first stage back to Earth.
It's coming back, baby. Booster's coming back.
Wow, these are just incredible views coming to us.
Yeah, that's likely just a vent.
Everything is looking good for both the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen, or the super heavy booster, as well as on the right-hand side of your screen, that is Starship, or we also refer to that as the ship.
Our trackers are feverishly still trying to find booster again.
Now, the boost back burn was the first of 2 burns required to return it to Earth. The next one will be the landing burn, where all 13 center engines will initially ignite and then transition into a 3-engine burn to help slow it down. Now, just as a reminder of the Stage 1 test objectives, we're looking for controlled ascent, which we have so far. Stage separation, which, gorgeous, we cruised right through it, as well as
on a nominal trajectory.
good news there, telling us that the path that Starship is on is good. Now, Starship's second stage is still firing its engines, and as you heard, following planned flight path. The ship objectives, we're looking for hot staging, again, cruised right through that. We're looking to demonstrate controlled ascent, as well as orbital insertion. Now, the bottom right-hand corner of your screen shows the ship engine graphics, so be sure to keep an eye on those.
Yep, Kate, like this is just a phenomenal test so far. Super Heavy is performing beautifully today. It's on its return leg of the journey.
Wow.
Ship continuing to burn its 6 engines, those larger circles, the Raptor vacuum engines, the inner circles, the Raptor sea level engines. We're about 30 seconds away.
Grid is moving.
Just under 30 seconds away from the start of the boost back burn.
Landing burn.
Excuse me, the landing burn on the booster. You can see the grid fins rotating. Those hypersonic grid fins are guiding us through the atmosphere back towards our splashdown site. Again, we're going for a for a splashdown.
A soft
splashdown.
Oh, baby.
So for landing burn, we're going to expect to see the 13 center engines light, rapidly bring down the booster's velocity, and then just the 3 in the center for splashdown. Let's see if that'll work.
Oh, it's getting wobbly.
We're getting a few engines.
Few engines trying. Oh, no. Oh, I don't think that was...
And acquisition of signal. Let's see if we can get some other video of that. Now, this is a test objective today. It is still something that we're attempting to learn. And to make it that far, to demonstrate the controlled re-entry up to that point is pretty darn good. Ship continuing to look nominal with its ascent burn.
Yes.
This burn lasting about 6 minutes.
Had a T0, they hit the T0. Unbelievable. Huge congratulations, SpaceX team. This is very promising. So let's go over the milestones we saw. So we made it through full ascent, all 33 engines running phenomenally, through stage separation phenomenally, everything looking fantastic there. So that's all great news. That's the type of stuff we want to see today. The other milestones that we saw, by the way, I'm going to use our mission control here and stop all recordings. I think it is safe to stop all recordings on our mission control here. Everyday Astronaut mission control. Do I have confirmation? I don't think we need to record anything now. It will help us save on data and hopefully bring some of these videos in here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop all. I am sure that I want to stop all recordings. There we go. Okay. Confirmation that we at least had a good amount of them going. That is awesome. Okay, so yeah, we saw a safe stage separation without hot staging, which is so controversial. A lot of people not sure hot staging would work. We're 2 out of 2 for hot staging. Not only was hot staging successful, we had a full successful burn of the Starship upper stage. Clean all the way through. It is now in space. It is now in 0G on a barely suborbital trajectory, and it will re-enter off the coast of Africa. In between Africa and Australia in the Indian Ocean, there's a pretty long re-entry corridor there, and that is where this ship will hopefully end up here in about, what is it here? Starship re-entry will hopefully be landing in about re-entering in T plus 50 minutes. So we're at T plus 15. We should see that at T plus 50. So we have a decent amount of time before that. But yeah, as you can see here, these are the milestones we're looking to see. But the boost back burn was clean on the booster. The booster re-entered and looked like it was nothing. Did you notice that while it was going through the parts of the atmosphere that would destroy a Falcon 9, and the Falcon 9 would have to do a re-entry burn? The booster I didn't see any signs of, like, there's not even like a plasma buildup. It just was so smooth coming back in, so gentle. Unfortunately, they did not manage to successfully relight Raptor engines for the landing burn. So that is something they'll have to prove out before they bring this thing back to the pad. So we'll have to do it. They'll have to do another couple of these probably to prove that they can successfully do a landing burn with the booster. But again, the booster did something that was completely nominal for every other rocket besides the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. So, you know, if people say like, oh, the booster failed, it's like, no, the booster still did its job, its primary objective. Oh, we do have views from inside the payload bay door. Oh, that is cool. Look at the vapors. That is awesome. The door appears to be closed now, it looks like. Or closing. Did it already open? That is wild. You just see stuff floating around inside the payload bay door. This is crazy. Wow. So it is officially made it through a clean orbital-ish insertion. Wow. I can't believe this. Oh, man. Let's see. Yeah, so the next things we're expecting to see, though, the payload door will close at T plus 28 minutes. Assuming that might be open. I can't tell from this angle. It might have just propped open, but it's kind of hard to tell. It doesn't look like it opened all the way, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on that. SpaceX is not updating us. We do have their program still in here, so once they start giving us updates, we will hear them on air. But they are taking a break, basically, until the shutdown, until the re-entry. So the next things we expect to see, though, they are working on the propellant transfer demo here in about the next 8 minutes. Okay, the door is moving. Or is that just the fact that it's rotating in the... See the sun? It is good to know that the vehicle is at least where it needs to be. That is incredible. I want to point out a thing. Did you see that they shut down the Raptor vacuum engines, the outer vacuum engines, which are more efficient in space? They did shut those down before they shut down the sea-level vacuum engines. My first thought on that, why they would do that, is simply because they can do some fine-tune adjustments because these center engines can do the gimbaling. So the center engines can still steer and control the vehicle. And so at shutdown, if you have any kind of transient, like if say the 3 Raptor engines, let's say one shuts down a little bit too late, it could put it into a spin. So it's better to turn them all off simultaneously and then null out any of those. If it did accidentally induce any kind of pitch or yaw, they can use those center engines that do steer to be able to, null it back out and make sure it's continuing on a nominal trajectory, then shut down the sea-level engines, which can gimbal. So we saw the Raptor vacuum engines shut down first, then we saw the sea-level engines shut down. Very cool. It's fun to see these new things, though. It's fun to see these new milestones, new things that we hadn't seen before. We didn't get to see engines shut down on Flight 2. We saw engines shut down on Flight 3. So now I want you guys to place your bets. After seeing how the booster handled re-entry without even looking there, it was in views again, how the booster handled re-entry like it was nothing. I feel like even though this thing's you can see missing some heat shield tiles, I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to re-enter no problem. I can't believe this thing went off today already. Guys, that's from our end here at Everyday Astronaut, that's actually a huge relief. We have people that need to leave. We have people that need to be here and there all around the United States after this. So that's actually great news for us. I am so happy. And to all 200,000 people of you watching still, thank you so much for tuning in with us. It is such an honor to be able to cover not only the progress of SpaceX, but for me, my own personal journey to be flying on this rocket with Dear Moon. It's just crazy that, like, when I see these progress milestones and I see that Starship footage in space, I get goosebumps. I have goosebumps. It makes me go, realize the reality of what's coming. So Very, very exciting. Again, sorry that I'm not able to really get to any. I'll try to answer some of you guys' things, like Jeffrey Lowe saying this is incredible work, and it goes without saying that I'm not getting much work done this morning. Loving the energy at SpaceX with the team and Elon Musk. Thank you so much for Jeffrey for your super chat. Sorry that I'm not able to get to your guys' super chats and questions as quickly as I want. I'll try to see if I can answer some of these questions though. This is a question from James Bulmer. Is that the largest second stage to make it to orbit? That is the largest object to ever, bigger than Skylab. It has about the same amount of internal volume as the International Space Station. It is the biggest single object ever put into space by quite a bit, actually. Okay, so we have views again. We're bringing you guys the views whenever we get them. They are occasionally losing them. We can, Spencer, go ahead, and even if they do go to that screen that's nothing, let's just keep that up since we don't really have much else to offer. Might as well. Yeah, so, we are coming up on them working on the in-space fuel transfer demo. So that will be at T plus 24 minutes. So they're probably preparing for that. So what they'll have to do for that is they will have to do some kind of ullage settling propellant. So what they'll do is they'll actually vent some of the propellant, which will slowly and gently accelerate the rocket Starship forward, or in a direction, and that will settle the propellant towards the liquid propellant down towards the bottom of the tanks, and then they can start to do the actual propellant transfer. So that's what we're going to be seeing coming up here in hopefully 2 minutes, and hopefully they get the footage back. I'm surprised. I would think that Starlink would really be saving the day here for us to be able to get constant downrange footage here. So we'll see. We'll see if that does show up. Oh, man. Why is it spinning? People are asking. At this point, I don't know. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. I don't know what it's supposed to be doing at this point. If it is, what they're doing, they're probably playing. This is the first time they've had it properly in space, not under acceleration. So they might be doing a control systems checkout, literally firing off all the different, the reaction control thrusters, seeing how the thing maneuvers, making sure it matches up with their models. They might be they're taking it for a spin. They're kicking the tires on this thing right now and seeing, all right, what happens when we do this and do that, and if we fire these thrusters here. And don't forget the main thrusters on this thing are basically hot gas thrusters. They're basically venting out, because as this vehicle is sitting there with liquid propellant inside of it, cryogenic propellant, the cryo warms up inside the tanks of the Starship, and it needs to be vented anyway. So what they basically do is they kind of let it build up for a little bit, and then they vent it. And that venting, that's the hot. If you have ever seen that clip of me talking with Elon, asking him, like, so you're only doing the hot gas thrusters on the booster, right? And I want to clear things up. So many people, that video has become a litmus test. If you hate Elon Musk, you say, see, he stole that guy's idea, and he didn't even thank him. And if you love Elon Musk, you're like, look how humble he is. He listened to, he'll listen to anybody for ideas. I don't think it's any of those things. I asked just a question, and I didn't even